Hello, I hope you are all doing well. Um, so I hear that Cornerstone's going to try to have actual service starting this fall, so that'll be nice. So I hope nothing disastrous thing happens. So unless something unexpected happens, we will try to have a meeting. I hope you take courage. So today is a really nice day. I think March 20th is officially the beginning of spring. Is that right? 20 or 21st or 22nd. So we enjoy good weather, and those of us who are here, we had really good food. What would you call this food?
Sashimi bibimbap.
Yeah, sushimi bibimbap.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, hedopap. Hedopap. You do not understand that word. Same thing. But so we're going to read from Luke 20:27 through 40, and Annie will read it for us. Should I turn this to her?
Please turn to it.
Oh yeah, it stays all right.
There came to him some Sadducees, those who deny that there was a resurrection, and they asked him a question, saying, "Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies having a wife with no children, the man must take the widow and raise up the offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers. The first took a wife and died without children, and then the second and the third took her. And likewise all 7 left no children and died. Afterwards the woman died also. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife will the woman be? For the 7 had her as a wife." And Jesus said to them, the sons of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who are considered worthy to attain to that age and to the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage, for they cannot die anymore, because they are equal to angels and are sons of God, being sons of resurrection. But that the dead are raised, even Moses showed in the passage about the bush, where he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, and God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. Now he is not God of the dead, but the living, for all live to him. Then the scribes answered, "Jesus, you have spoken well," for they no longer dared to ask him any questions.
Amen. Thank you. Does it work all right? Okay. Thank you, Annie. About resurrection of the dead. That's what this passage talks about. It's maybe a little early to talk about resurrection, but I think it'll be okay. First of all, Barna Group did a research on how Americans believe about life after death and the existence of God. They say that that 8 out of 10, or 81% of Americans, believe in the afterlife of some sort. But 8 out of 10 believe that. 9% said life after death may exist, but they're not sure. And 1 out of 10, or 10%, they believe that there is no form of life after one dies on earth. So basically, about 80% believe, and 10% do not believe life after death. But that's a very important question, right? You know, whether you believe in life after death or not. So accordingly, one lives a life. So that's a great of importance doctrine. You know, when we say doctrine, it seems boring and waste of time. But what you believe really is important, because it determines your lifestyle. Large majority of Americans, 79%, agree with the statement, every person has a soul that will live forever, either in God's presence or absence. That's a similar thing. And they also found out the view of heaven and hell. 76% believe that heaven exists, while nearly the same proportion 71% said there is no such thing. So what's interesting is Americans over the years who believed in the existence of hell has decreased. So 71% said there's no such thing. That has increased quite a bit. That's not good news, because Jesus talked about hell more than heaven. So hell's existence is certain. And how many Americans do you think expect when they die that they will go to hell? 1%? It's half of 1%. So 1 out of only 200. That you can understand. Who expects to go to hell? Huh? So it's a very narrow road. But Jesus says, narrow with a good life, then you become like a snake or something. That's their reincarnation belief. And 5% believe that they will simply not exist anymore. So if someone believes that they will just cease to exist, then how do you think they will live? They won't care about next world. So what happens, I think, is if someone has a hardship in life, something that they cannot control, then they might just end their life, because they believe that once they die, then he won't come back to life. And so that's when we get to today's passage. Today's passage happened in Passion Week. Passion Week is usually considered 1 week right before the death of Christ. About 3-4 days before Jesus was crucified on the cross, which would have been either Tuesday or Wednesday. Jesus went with his disciples to Jerusalem to have his last Passover supper. And also pilgrims crowded the city in anticipation of Passover. And when he entered, and before, Jesus became really popular with the people. And so he had a great welcome, like red carpet welcome. But there were people who hated him, who wanted to get rid of him, which were the religious leaders. Especially in chapter 19, there's conflicts, and in one place it says Jesus went into the temple and cleared that business. So in today's passage, there's certain group of people that come, and they are called Sadducees. Sadducees. You heard of Pharisees, but another next important group that's important is Sadducees. And Sadducees are men who believed that death is the end of existence, that there is no resurrection. So that's how our passage starts. 27, it says, then some of the Sadducees who deny that there is a resurrection came to him and asked him. And so they didn't believe, so they were the people who only lived for this life, right? If you believe that there's no life after death, then of course it's wise to just concentrate on this life, of course, right? Those are the Sadducees. So they didn't believe in resurrection. In Acts chapter 4, 1 through 2, it says Sadducees were greatly disturbed that the apostles taught in Jesus' resurrection from the dead, and so they got the apostles in prison, graduates and Harvard. They're good schools, but Harvard graduates, those are, they're starting to be pastors, and I believe, at least compromise with the world. So many of them became powerful politicians. So when they are focused on this life only, they wanted to gain power. They made up the nation's ruling class then. So they dominated priesthood. Strange how they didn't believe in resurrection, but they become priests. And many of them became members of Sanhedrin, which was the governing body of Israel back then. And so these Sadducees, they couldn't let Jesus live. So they played a big part in getting rid of Jesus. So they were attacking him. And today's passage, they came up with a question, a tricky question that's designed to entrap him. In verse 28, they said, the laws of Moses state that if a man dies without children, the man's brother shall marry the widow, and their children will legally belong to the dead man to carry on his name. We know of a family of 7 brothers with not any with purpose. Normally I read New King James, but basically, though, this is what they said. The law brother next to his younger brother is supposed to marry your wife. That is designed to carry on a family name, and so that seems really strange, No one would do that. But back then, that's in the law of Moses. Deuteronomy 25:5 says, if a man's brother dies without a son, his widow must not marry outside the family. Instead, her husband's brother must marry her and sleep with her. So that's the law. So they came up with this question that's fictitious. I'm sure. How could this happen? There are 7 brothers. A family could have 7 brothers back then, but first, oldest married a woman and had no children, and he died, and so she married his younger brother, second brother, and then third brother died, maybe 2 or 3 possible, but 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th all died. So she became a widow. Right? So the question of Sadducees was, if that happened, right, that's right. So Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, right? But you know what happened when Jacob died? Where was he buried? Next to Leah, not Rachel. I don't know how exactly that happened, but that's how it happened. You would think that if Jacob loved Rachel most, then he would want to be buried next to her, but that didn't happen. So anyway, when they died, which one is going to be his wife? You know what the answer is? Neither one. Why? Jesus says, the sons of this age marry and are given. Say, that's too bad. I want to get married. And that seemed really boring.